spikes, death to these certain people that the thoughts that go through the head.
This is the most mature audiences only shit you've ever heard. Period.
I hate your fucking guts.
From Boston. Broadcasting all over the world. Send the soy boys home. 'Cause we ain't gonna sugarcoat shit.
Drop down and give it to you.
This is the Joe Cronin Show. Now, here's Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin.
Pit of spikes.
Crown Jewel, man. Wow. What a mess, Crown Jewel. We got a few things that we know about, but there's so many matches. They're going to be added to Crown Jewel, later. It's really kind of bizarre. If you guys can, click that like button now. We need you guys to click that like button now. That's right. That's right. Catfucker stole my state of the WWE, so tonight we're going off the script. So, hey man, you take my show, I'm going to take yours. What's up, everybody? Hit that like button, and also back down Joey Janela. What a couple of babies, man. Unbelievable. Couple of babies. Oh boy, it's going to be so funny. Stole that too. Stole my beef with Joey Janela, calling him a coward. Stole that too. I mean, is there anything the guy can, not steal? Steals the state of WWE, state of AEW. Then he steals my beef with Joey Janela. I mean, can you get your own beefs with people? I mean, really? God damn, my life's a piece of shit right now, though. So, hey, man. I can only get worse from here, What else what could possibly happen to me that's worse? You know what I mean? It's the funniest thing. I wish Joey Janela would want to fight me again. Wouldn't that be great? Come on, Joey. Come on down, brother. That'd be nice. We had people with back down Janela signs in the audiences. We had Janela fears Joe Cronin. We had so many people that brought so many signs. It was unbelievable. We had people yelling at him at wrestling shows, which was really funny. And, this guy, this fucker in New York will leave no stone unturned until he's, done everything the same way. Something with people in New York, man. They love to take whatever it's weird. It's like they follow me and they're like, you know what? What's he doing? Let me do that too. Something about New York people. They're fucking, I don't know, bro. They have no original ideas or something. I don't know. What's with New Yorkers, bro? They would stab their mother for $1, people in New York. I don't know what, not all you guys, but some of you New Yorkers, man, I'll tell you, bro, you will fucking, Like, man, let me take that. But anyway, we're here for Joe Cronin's Off the Script. We're going off the script tonight. Tony Khan, fucking piece of shit, shambles AEW, same problems that they've had. But last night, Wednesday night, was a better show than usual because they had a fun match, I think. I mean, it was like a stupid match, but it was like fun, stupid, chaotic, train wreck type of match, hardcore match that, entertained me. Because it wasn't, you know what I mean? Because usually the matches that are pretty good are like the video game matches where they do flip-flop all over the place. And it's like, that's so repetitive now that I've seen it so many times that it's like, okay, yep, they're doing that again. They're doing the flip-flop, springboard circus performance. I've seen that plenty of times. So like, it's just not. It's not fueling me enough. But the other day, man, that hardcore-ish train wreck was entertaining because it was different. I mean, it was different. It's not that it was different. It's that type of match that has been done now for years since, the WWE started kind of adopting a little bit of ECW style into their stuff in the Attitude Era. But, I mean, what I mean is it's just been... When AEW does those matches, it's fun because you're like, oh, it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen some of this. It's been a lot of video game, Japanese game match, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, my God. Kurtman in the chat said, he can't steal your hot wife. Oh, my God, bro. Bengals, I can't wait for the Usos to get back together. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that the Usos are going to go down as, like, they really are. They might go down. Like, they're on pace to go down. And obviously, like, being a 40-year-old person myself, obviously, like, when I think of, like, iconic tag teams still in my head, it's still, like, Legion of Doom and, even the Rockers and the Hart Foundation and there are so many tag teams kind of that stand out to me that are like legendary tag teams who existed. Most of them existed a lot of times for like, anywhere from 2 to 6 years. And they stand out as like legendary teams to me. But, when you think about the Usos at this point, because we're in the modern era and they're in the modern era that we're in now, and they've been together for so long, like, they're going to go down as potential, like one of the best tag teams of all time. They're going to go down that way. They might go down as the best tag team of all time. Because they started so young and they were cohesive and they stayed together and for so long. I mean, Legion of Doom. How long were they a tag team? Like 1985 to when? The Legion of Doom when were they formed? Legion of Doom. 1978. Legion of Doom. Oh no, we're talking about the comics. Let me see. What I wanted to say 1985. The early 1980s, right? Like, so 1980. Well, let's even say 1980. Let's go all the way back in 1980. And the Legion of Doom, really. When was the last Legion of Doom match? When was Legion of Doom's last match? Was it like 2006? 2003? The Road Warriors' last TV appearance occurred May 2003 on a Raw tag team. Rob Van Dam and KANE, the Road Warriors. They got a full-time contract with WWE, but nothing ever came of it. Hawk died 5 months later. Yeah, so it was 2003. I mean, that's all I had to do was look up when Hawk died. So the Legion of Doom was hot in all the 80s. That's 10 years. And then they were still viable in the 90s. But towards the end of the 90s, they really piddled out and winded down, and they weren't doing a lot anymore. They did the LOD 2000 and stuff like that. So you could say about 20 years. So the Legion of Doom was a 20-year, tag team that could be considered one of the top tag teams and one of the longest, running tag teams. And the Usos, when did the Usos come on the scene? 2012? The Usos debuted in 2010. So 2010, and now it's 2024. So we're talking about 14 years. So the Usos are only 6 years. The Usos are 6 years away from being a tag team about as long as the LOD, or as long as the LOD. That's crazy. That means that, when I was born, the LOD had already been around for a few years. 1984, I was born. They just started right around that time. So when I was born, by the year 2000, when I was 16, the LOD was starting to wrap it up almost. Within 3 years, they would have wrapped it up. By 2003, I was 19. The LOD had pretty much wrapped it up. And I'd spent my whole life, 19 years, in the LOD running the deal. And now I'm 40 years old, and we are 6 years away from the Usos having run 20 years. That's crazy. LOD 1983, New York Jets fanboy. Okay, so that's about, they ran 20 years. We're spot on with that. Ghost from the coast. It's going to cost you, brother. I'm just kidding. What's up? What's up, Ghost? Trump is thinking about getting rid of all income tax. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Now, my question is, if we get rid of, I don't think he'll do that, but let's pretend that does happen. They get rid of all income tax. Does that mean that I don't have to pay my back taxes owed? Does that mean that I could get out of that? Because that would be really awesome. Can you imagine that? That'd be crazy. Okay, I don't know. I'm trying to type and see what you're trying to say, but I'm not sure what you sent me on Twitter, but try to send it to me again later, or a link that works. That whatever you sent me didn't work. John, yeah, send that to me again, because I'm not really sure what the hell that is. I don't know. Let's all remember AJ Lee meeting Lita as a kid. It's so weird that there's a video of AJ Lee meeting Lita, and now AJ Lee's retired basically, and even Lita still shows up. A VHS. A nice VHS, AJ Lee. Here, keep the pen. I wonder if AJ Lee still has it. I wonder if she still has it. I would have, if I was Oh, God, if I met, like, Stone Cold when I was, like, 14, I would have been like, this is the shit. You know, but I would have flipped out if I was, like, 9 years old and I met Hulk Hogan. I would have, like, I would have flipped out. I would have flipped out for sure. We've beat a dead horse on what's wrong with AEW. Like, they could get back to where they... I don't know if they'll ever get back to that the first couple of years, right? Because it's always hard. The first 2 years, the momentum they had. But they just got to have this consistency. And I think one of the things that they had when they started was, they had the characters. They had a feeling that they had some kind of character. And even into the second year, they really felt like they had this character, these expected characters, and there was a belt, and it made sense. But they really jumped the shark. They really went... Where they went wrong, in my opinion, is where they dove too much into the Japan stuff or the sickos stuff, the Japanese wrestling, the flip-floppy people, the Koja Koanawi versus Oba Duba Gabi. Like, nobody knows who these fucking people are. Like, they need to stop treating... You know how Jericho was introduced in WWE? Do you remember how Jericho was introduced? It's like... There's so many reasons why it's different, because somebody the other day was like, they do this, they do the Jericho thing, but with 1 million people. And it's like, no, they don't. Not really, because you can't do that. It's not even close. Like, you're comparing completely different fucking things. It's not even close. Like, when Jericho was coming to the WWE, first of all, there was years of buildup, or there was like 1.5 years of buildup, maybe 2. Where I can remember being in school in 7th grade and 8th grade, and I can remember we used to have conversations about shit. And one of the conversations that a lot of the kids would have would be like, man, what if Jericho went to the WWE? What if Jericho was in WWE? Wow, that'd be cool. I can remember when we used to do the email threads where we would book wrestling shows on email, virtual... I don't know what you call it, virtual role plays or whatever. Man, that sounds lame now when you think about that. But we were doing these virtual role plays, and there'd be like a draft, and you'd get to pick, like they'd put like 50 wrestlers' names or 100 wrestlers' names in the email list, and it would be like round 1, and everybody got a number, and it was like, okay, it's round 2. Number 3's turn, and you would pick wrestlers, and then you would book like fantasy shows and shit. Like, I mean, totally. I'm sure Tony Khan might have been in my email thread for all I know, but I can remember, just somebody getting Jericho, and they were the WWE, and then you had to vote on whose booking was better, and after you read the script or whatever. It was so goofy, dude, to think about. I only did it for a little while, but like a lot of people did that forever. Like, it was like Dungeons and Dragons for wrestling. It really was. It was like you would spend days on the draft, and then you would call your federation or your promotion, whatever it was, and you had Jericho and Stone Cold and somebody else. And then you would say the pay-per-view's called, Bloodlust or whatever, and, Jericho's facing X-Pac, and then Kane and The Undertaker are in this match. And then, everybody would write their script of what happened. It was just so crazy. And then everybody would vote on who they thought's, pay-per-view was better. Like, you could vote for yourself and 2 other people or something like that. And then you would just do this voting. It was something like that. I don't remember. But I remember it. So anyway, Jericho, people were like, oh, Jericho should go to the WWE. Then the news sites would report Jericho was going to the WWE. But at the time, I got to be honest, I didn't really read the news sites much. I did not read them much. Once in a while, I did read them. But what started happening, and I don't know if you guys remember this, and I don't know who was leaking the stories, but it's sometime in like 1997, 1998, and 1999. Like, I'm telling you guys, they knew everything. Like, going into WrestleMania, I read the ending of WrestleMania. But I didn't think it was real. Like, I read a spoiler report, Mike Tyson will double cross DX and join Stone Cold, and he'll jump in the ring and make the count so Stone Cold beats Shawn Michaels or whatever. That was literally reported. I don't know where the site is, but what site it was, but I read it and was like, I was just reading lots of things, and I read it like, yeah, what do they know? What the hell are they talking about? They don't know what the hell is going to happen. And so we go to WrestleMania 14 in Boston, and that's exactly what happens. And I remember being like, I was excited, and it was awesome, and Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold are like my favorites, so at the time I definitely wanted Stone Cold to win, and I was all about Stone Cold. It was awesome. But I do remember thinking like, oh my God, that site like literally predicted everything that happened. Like, they didn't predict it. They knew what was going to happen because it was like word for word they said what was going to happen. And so I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to really read those anymore. So I sort of stopped reading the sites. So I didn't know that Jericho was going to be there that night. I didn't know that Chris Jericho was the countdown to the millennium. And I'm so glad I didn't, because it would have ruined it. I had no idea. So that's the best part about that Monday Night Raw where Jericho debuted, is I had no clue. So you had over a year of people talking about Jericho should go to WWE. Then you had a lot of people that knew the countdown clock was Jericho. Then you had a lot of people who were like, they forgot about the countdown clock because they had been showing the countdown clock for a while and nothing was ever happening. So it just became this thing that you're like, there's that again. So when it started counting down and then you realized it was at like 15 seconds and you were like, oh shit, like that fucking Millennium Clock, I forgot all about it. It's really it's happening now. It's happening right now. What the fuck? I forgot about it. So you like, it got you excited. Like, I don't know, whatever they did for the Jericho debut was so much, there was so much right done with the Jericho debut. It's crazy. It was like the Millennium Clock was always on, so you always were like hearing about it. But then it became like boring because you're like, okay, I know this Millennium thing. They're still talking about this, whatever. But then like it went away or something for a week or two, it felt like, or at least I forgot about it. And all of a sudden it just comes on the screen and it's 15 seconds. So that got really exciting. Like, oh shit, the payoff to this fucking stupid thing. I forgot all about it. And then, the lights go out, they're flickering, then they go out. And then, dude, when the music hits, that little music, and then the Jericho name flashed up on the screen, it was like, oh, shit. What? Jericho's here? Like, it was just like, that's why everybody flipped out. So when people say that Tony Khan does the Jericho with 1 million wrestlers, like, oh my God, it's Okada's, it's not even Okada, it's Tachanui Okazawa and stuff. It's like, that's not the same thing at all. There's no build-up whatsoever, so it's not like it at all. There's no build-up. There's no countdown clock. And even if there was, these people are coming from a company that only about maybe a couple 100,000 people watch in America. There's only a couple 100,000 people, if that watch New Japan Pro Wrestling in America. They don't fucking care. People here don't care. So when you get Ishinawa Itanopi coming in, you know what I mean? Only like 150, 250,000 people really understand who that is or care. So when Jericho came to the WWF, Jericho was coming from WCW, and WCW at the time, I believe, was getting 7 million viewers, right? So Jericho, 7 million viewers, is coming to WWF with 8 million viewers or whatever, or similar. 6 million, 7 million, they were very close at the time, right? So why in the world do people think that that's comparable? It's not the same thing at all. You had a perfect storm from the countdown clock to The Rock being in the ring to the rumors of Jericho for over a year, the anticipation of people wanting him to go to WWF, to him actually showing up from a company with millions and millions of viewers. So everybody knew. What I'm saying is almost everybody knew who Jericho was. Like 80% of the crowd knew who Jericho was, if not more, right? In some way. They knew of him somehow. when these people come from New Japan to AEW, it's like not everybody knows it all. Like, so if you have 800,000 AEW fans watching AEW, only about 300,000 of them could possibly know who the person coming in is, right? Maybe 100,000 more kind of know who they are because they've heard the name, but they don't know who they are really, which is fine as well. But so, like, it's not the same thing. It's not comparable. It just is not comparable whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, let me just see here. Let me drop the dono link. Dono link. If you guys want to donate, that's where to do it. Hit the like button if you can. That would help out big time. And enjoy Tony Khan's death stare. What is AEW? Undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes versus World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. That's the main event booked for Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel on November 2nd. Also, WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax versus Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. That will be there. Seth Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. And there's expected to be 8 matches, but so far those are the only matches announced. So,
Hey, Bullfrog,
you know.
Moron. Scissor me, Joe!
One time Vince McMahon exploded in a limo and then he came back to life.
That's right. What happened was Vince traded his life for the family's life of Chris Benoit. You know, Vince McMahon was supposed to die, but he said, no, keep me alive, God. Instead, take Chris Benoit's kid and wife. And he actually traded with those guys. So, unbelievably, he traded with them. It's a fantastic story. And, you know, it should be admired for years, to be honest. Who was that donation from? Let's find out. Doomed, huh? Doomed, huh? Thank you very much for the dono, man. I appreciate it. You're the best. You're the best, and you're not doomed. You're doable. Seth Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. I'm gonna say Seth Rollins wins though. I'm going Seth Rollins over Big Bronson Reed, and then I'm gonna go, women's champion Nia Jax versus women's world champion Liv Morgan. I'm gonna say that Nia Jax wins that. I'm actually gonna go Nia Jax. Although Dom could interfere. You know what? I'm gonna go Liv Morgan because I think Dom's gonna interfere. I think Dom will interfere, so Liv Morgan wins. And Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. That's a tough one, but it's so hard to say with these guys facing for a title like this. But I'm gonna say that Cody Rhodes does win. Which is, I don't know, bro. That's hard to see. That's really hard to see one of those people lose to each other. It's kind of unprecedented, man. It's kind of weird that you're going to make one of the champions is going to lose to the other one. It almost kind of like weirdly delegitimizes one of them as like, well, this guy's the real champion, man, because he beat the other champion. So that means, he's kind of the A-lister for the rest of the year until you know what I mean? When you do a champion thing like that. So one of the world champions has to take a loss? Like, I don't know if I like that. You know, it's one thing at WrestleMania, you have a title versus title match, but to have the champions square off against each other for this belt, I don't know, man. Goldberg will interfere, maybe. Yeah, maybe Goldberg will jump in there and do something. But yeah, I don't know about that interference. But yeah, the other matches that are coming, I mean, yeah, we could probably speculate about some of them. We know some of them that are happening probably, but, you know, we'll wait till we get the concrete bullshit later on, you know, until we figure out what exactly is happening. TNA was tonight. I didn't see it, but you know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Gunther P breaks are boring. I wait for Stone Cold chant. What? Lash LaRue. Can you imagine that? If Lash LaRue showed up? He showed up with his peepee. He took it out. WWE always cops out of matches like that. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, well, you know, where do you go now? You know, you got your world champions doing this. Where do you go? Yeah, it was a very October day today. Triple H finishes suck the all run-ins. Are they all run-ins? It's probably. I mean, listen, they're gonna put on a typical, you know, sort of a safe house show type of thing. You know, that's what they do in Saudi Arabia. It's just a show for Saudi Arabia, really. And if you guys want to watch it, go ahead. But it's what it is. NXT 700,000 viewers. Is that last week? I mean, is that Tuesday night? Okay, wow. They'd gone up a little bit moving, and now it looks like they've gone down a little bit, but they're above what they were at because they were a solid 600,000 for a while, right? So now they're up to about 700,000. Imagine if Undertaker came out at, retirement. Yeah, I don't think so. No chance in hell, man. Goldberg almost took out The Undertaker. Imagine if Goldberg had paralyzed The Undertaker. Imagine if Goldberg had, like, really hurt The Undertaker. Like, so Goldberg took out Bret Hart, and then he takes out The Undertaker. What an accomplishment. Had Goldberg been allowed to do that, that would have been unbelievable. Like, hey, man, I took out Bret Hart, and I took out Undertaker. And then they could bring back Goldberg a year later. Maybe he could face, like, one of the other guys and injure them. You know, like, maybe bring out, like, Roman and Goldberg. Maybe he could kill Roman. He could break Roman's neck. And Goldberg would be known as the guy to take out 3 megastars. Imagine that. Goldberg takes out 3 megastars. That would be fascinating. Tony Khan's looking good, though. But, yeah, Wednesday night, I thought Jericho really... That Jericho match with Briscoe, that really did save the night for me. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was not... I wish, as a Jew, I would have been the king of the world, says Omar Fakarani. Wow. Okay. Goldberg will take out Triple H. Goldberg will take out Triple H out of retirement to put him back in. No way. No way would Triple H come out of retirement to face Goldberg. That would just be... Because there's so many other people that Triple H could have came, and wrestled and whatever. That would not be... That would not be it, I miss Jet Moto. Man, I loved Jet Moto back in the day, dude. I can remember, I don't think there was anything better than sitting down at my friend's house, especially at his dad's house. We would be at my friend's dad's house, and it just smelled like cigarette smoke and ashes everywhere in Weymouth, Massachusetts. And it just smelled like cigarette smoke, and we'd to sit down there, and we had the PlayStation plugged into the TV in the living room, and you'd crack open a bottle of Surge or a can of Surge or Mountain Dew or whatever, probably Mountain Dew. But dude, man, what the fuck, bro? What happened? What happened? I think about that, and I'm like, what we used to do is we'd stay up all night. We'd stay up all night, and then his dad would go to work, and his dad would be back around 3 to 5 p.m. or maybe later, and we would just stay up all night, and then we wake up at 11 or 12 in the afternoon, and we'd be like, oh man, we were up all night playing video games. And then we would do it all again. We'd walk down the street and around the corner to the 7-Eleven, go in the 7-Eleven, get more drinks and snacks and shit, and just walk back to the house. Fire up Jet Moto or whatever, Metal Gear Solid. Oh, Turkey Italiano. Woo.
What is your take on WrestleMania tickets? I looked them up and they were $1,200. AEW tickets are $300 front row seats. Everything else is expensive.
I gave my opinion on that last night, but since I think this is the first donation of the night, I'm going to re-answer it all over again. AEW tickets are $300 front row. That's not bad. WrestleMania tickets are nuts. WrestleMania tickets are crazy. I showed some of them the other day, and yeah, they're out of control. But they're doing this thing called dynamic ticket price. I don't know what pricing. So I think I actually talked about this earlier today too. But they're just going to keep adjusting the prices, based on the market. It's just an automatic thing. If people stop buying them, or if people can't buy them, then they're going to lower. But while they're in demand, and at the beginning in certain times, they're going to be up higher. And here the problem is for Americans, right? Americans that are like, oh man, well, you got people all over the world that can buy these tickets. It's not like just here. It's not like other shows where there's not a big international audience. If it's a show where it's like if they do a pay-per-view, you're only going to get about maybe 1% to 2% international audience buying tickets. The rest are going to come from almost all in America, maybe a few travelers from Canada and some other, but that's it. So you're really only competing with locals, and the tickets don't do as well, so they go down. But when you talk about WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, you're talking about people that have waited all year. That's the one thing they go to wherever it is, outside the country, whatever. And, you're talking about 20% or so of the fans are not coming from America. They're coming from all over the world. So you're competing with people who have the money saved to do that. And so you're going to see those ticket prices reflect that as they use this, the computer algorithm, to generate the most revenue possible. So I talked about that earlier, and that's about it. It's like, this is one of the most expensive This next WrestleMania is probably going to be one of the most expensive WrestleManias of all time, and potentially it's going to gross the most income of all time. It's gonna do that 100%. I think WrestleMania 25 is the record for most pay-per-view buys ever, I think. But I think that this year's WrestleMania will be the most, like the largest amount of revenue ticket sales wise. And we're seeing that because the product is gone up and up and up in value. It may not have gone up in viewership, right? Because it's not up in viewership. Weirdly enough, it's not. The viewership is 1.5 million. You know, you really have about 3 million active WWE viewers who off and on tune in or whatever. But you've got about 1.5 million people who are not going to miss a show, really. You know, you're going to have a guaranteed 1.5 million watching, and at any point in time, there's another million out there that will tune in and tune out off and on. And so it's not, those are good numbers nowadays, and those are really pretty solid numbers nowadays. From my point of view, I don't like those numbers really that much because I think they could be higher, and I think they've gone down over the years. But they've stopped dropping. The numbers have stopped dropping, and we're stuck now at this 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.4, whatever million people watching. So, but the revenue of the company is up in every aspect. The corporate side of things, everything is up. Ticket sales are back up again. Revenue's up. Deals are up. Merchandising, all that stuff. The problem with the company is not I don't think the company is moving merchandise at the same level it did at the height of the Attitude Era. It's also not, I don't think, moving merchandise as much as it was at the height of the John Cena era. You know, but I do think that the company is moving merchandise well enough, you know, pretty well for their model right now. You know, they're moving it at a good rate, and they're getting a lot of money for it. So just all of their deals are paying off, you know, for the most part. So their licensing deals are great. Their merchandising, their product value is just so high. Like, it's just so high right now. It's really mind-blowing. But this WrestleMania will generate the most revenue ever, I think, for WWE. I think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I want to think. I think gross or net, maybe net. The net number on the WrestleMania ticket prices has got to be probably the biggest ever. And I'm talking about compared to whatever. Compare it to another building where they might have had more people, whatever, I don't care. I think they're going to make more money at this WrestleMania ticket sales, it sounds like, than, you know, even another WrestleMania in the past that had more seats. I mean, that feels like what we're heading towards. You know? So we'll see if that holds up, but it does feel like it's going to. Here's my question. What's a drink going to cost you at WrestleMania then, this time around? Like, what's a drink at WrestleMania going to cost you? It's probably going to cost a lot. Hmm. Let's see. God damn. Bruce Springsteen, there's some photo of Bruce Springsteen with like his shirt ripped open. He looks like Khan from Wrath of Khan. So I was staring at it like, what am I looking at? Is that Ellen DeGeneres? Is that Ellen DeGenderless? And then Bret Hart looks like he's on the drums in the background. Is it Max Weinberg? But he looks like Bret Hart. Like, what is this photo, bro? Bruce Springsteen going Wrath of Khan right here. I mean, that's... Oh my God, bro. It's right out of Wrath of Khan. Look at that. That's too funny. He also kind of looks like the guy from Terminator. Beer at Allegiant Stadium is $28. Yeah, see, I feel like dude, a WrestleMania beer is going to be $30. Oh, you want a beer? Yeah, sure, that'll be $30. $30 for that beer. Thank you very much. Can you imagine that, dude? It's going to be like $30 to get a beer. Springsteen needs to retire. Oh. What would be funny is if he fell off the stage. I think that would be worth it. He just takes a fucking header off the stage. Sangria. That would be funny. It sounds like the beginning to the never-ending story. Now, how long is Chris Jericho going to hold the Ring of Honor title for? That's my question. We got the AEW viewership, guys. 637,000 viewers. There it is. Congratulations, AEW. God, can you imagine paying a $20 beer? Paying for a $20 beer? That would be so crazy. I think Jericho did a good job the other night, man. I liked it. I don't know. People making fun of him, but I thought he did a good job. Whew. Huh. Tony Khan looks amazing, though, doesn't he? Jericho's wife is hot? Okay. She probably is. I believe it. I never see them together. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything weird. I'm just saying, like, I don't see him and his wife a lot. I mean, like in pictures or anything. I mean, which is fine. I mean, not like I'm supposed to, like I deserve to, but I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know. Just don't see her a lot with him, you know? I mean, he keeps his family out of everything. It's crazy. He's on everything. But he keeps his family out of everything. It's kind of amazing. Well, alrighty. Peace out. Oh.